can.
Right there is fine.
Tell me when y'all ready. Somebody say go, somebody say ready, and we'll be ready.
Yep, ready.
All right, the reason why we're here tonight, I know it's a little bit late, later than normal for at least my guys to be out here at a little past 8 p.m., but I wanted to be here at a time where things are quieted down here at Oakleaf High School, just to talk about some recent arrests that were made today. Yet just yesterday, had a press conference where we talked about, kids making these threats and some of the hoax and posts that were going around and some of the repercussions for doing things like that. And as fate would have it, the cyber crimes unit, in addition to the juvenile crimes unit, got together and collaboratively traced those pieces of evidence back to two individuals for two separate incidences. One was a 15-year-old student here at Oakleaf High School, and the second incident was a 13-year-old who attends Oakleaf Junior High School. And the purpose for me being here tonight is really to emphasize the point that it's not cute, children, to make these types of posts. There's more serious things going on in Northeast Florida. There's more serious crimes going on in Clay County that really need the attention of law enforcement. And when you do things like this, you subject yourself to being arrested for a second-degree felony. And in case you don't know what the disciplinary action is on a second-degree felony, it's upward of 15 years in prison. And you think about that for a second. To get 15 years in prison, and what that would mean for you as an individual. Now, typically I would have my cup of coffee out here, but this is not a coffee moment because we're talking about our kids. These are teenage kids who are going down a path being silly like kids are and doing things that are what we call stupid as adults, and they're messing up their lives. And I don't want to see that happen. So I'm appealing to you, not only as a parent and not only as the sheriff, but just as a man, a resident who lives here in Clay County, and particularly in Oakleaf, to tell these kids, knock that crap off. Knock it off. Because what you're going to do is get you behind in trouble. You're going to wind up in jail, just like your two little partners did, and you're not going to be happy. And then you bring embarrassment to your families, your siblings, and your classmates, and you just make the rest of us look bad. So knock that crap off. And I'm saying that as a father. Just knock it off. And as the sheriff, you don't want me coming to your house unless you just coming there for a friendly visit. I don't want to have to come to your house, because I will step in your living room and I will have a cup of coffee in there. I will, if I have to come back to one of these young ladies' home again. And I don't want to send my folks in someone's home to do that. I really don't. I really don't. So we'll take questions. These guys behind me have the factual particulars. We'll be more than happy to take on some questions if you have any.
Sheriff Daniels, any surprise that these two suspects and the one in Palatka that was found to be making threats, any surprise that they're all female?
In my mind, I saw some guy doing this. It was shocking to me that these were little girls, little teenage girls doing these things. Yes, kids do silly things, but folks, there are consequences to actions. And kids, if you're watching, and parents, if you're watching, I hope you're recording. I hope you can go back and look at this on social media or one of these news stations' website and really dig into it and go over this stuff with your children. Have those conversations. Like I said yesterday, you don't want this to be your kid. And for those folks out there who these children belong to, don't be embarrassed. Kids are kids. They do silly things. You do the best you can as parents. But I'm saying it's time to be parents for those who are not. Talk to your kids about these things. I was surprised.
What can you tell us about the second arrest? Was that a social media post as well, and what did it say?
That was a social media post. I won't get into the particulars of that. The ironic thing about this is, we weren't even going down that road, but the kid reached out to us trying to cover her tracks and basically put the spotlight on herself, and it came to light that she had done it.
So she essentially notified y'all about a post, and then it turned out to be her?
She made herself to be a victim, and she was actually the suspect, unfortunately.
What does she have to say after that?
Changes to attendance with all of these?
I'm sorry?
Any noticeable changes to attendance?
Now that I would have to leave up to be responded to by the superintendent. I have him with me just in case you want to ask any school-related questions. Your question was?
I mean, what was her reaction, I guess, whenever
She confessed to the crime.
What did the posts say?
I won't get into what the posts say right now.
What are the girls saying? No.
Well, I don't know. They are very remorseful. Both of them are, and rightfully so when they consider the gravity of the situation. You know, kids do things and they don't think it through. You know, the physiology of the brain development. You know, they understand. The folks who get into brain work, they know that a kid's brain doesn't fully develop to around 25, 26, 27 years old. A 13-year-old and a 15-year-old are still developing, you know, their cognitive skills, and for them to do something like this is not beyond something a kid would do. That's why I'm telling them as a parent, knock it off. Somebody's got to tell them to knock it off. And parents, tell your kids, if they're even considering that, don't even think about it.
What kind of charges is the 13-year-old facing?
They're actually the same as the other one, and those are second-degree felonies and one misdemeanor.
Has you all's response to these threats been heightened because of Parkland?
Well, absolutely. One, I'm not going to say knock the dust off of our policies and procedures, but you know, we looked at our policies to make sure that our responses would be the most appropriate in a situation like that. We've heightened or enhanced our presence here at the schools. We've exercised some of our responses, and we continue to look at ways to make sure that the safety and security of the kids is paramount in everybody's mind right now.
Do you know, like, an estimate of how many calls y'all received over the past week, you know, with these threats?
I can't answer that specifically, but I know over the course of this year, we've had close to a dozen. Yeah.
So where do y'all go from here? What's, I guess, the next step are y'all going to continue to do?
We will continue. If folks continue to make these types of posts, I'll put it like this, butts will still wind up going to jail. If it's an adult, they'll wind up in the big jail, and the kids will go to kiddie jail. It is what it is. It's the nature of the beast. We're law enforcement officers. Those laws exist for a reason, and we enforce those laws. We don't make them up, but by golly, we'll enforce them.
2 threats in your county?
Yes.
Any other threats you all are investigating?
None right now.
Do you anticipate any more arrests?
None right now. No, ma'am.
I did ask this question of Chris Padgett beforehand, so I do know that he said he estimated 40% 2 days ago and maybe 20% today and yesterday. Mm-hmm. What do you tell parents who have been nervous, who have been worried about sending their kids to school?
Monday's a school day. I expect to see the house full. Not their house full, but the schoolhouse full. Let your kids come on back to school. They'll be fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Right. Nope.
All right. Thank you so much.
Any more questions?
Were there any school activities canceled today or tonight as a result?
Want to come on up here?
No, sir. There has been no cancellation of any activities. We will continue every function the last 2 days. We just were making certain that we had a safe and respectful environment. This partnership with Sheriff Daniels and his team has been excellent. They have been quick responders. They've been on top of their game every step of the way, working at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning between Sheriff Daniels and his team behind us. They've been actively present in this investigation, and we're just proud to continue our work with them.
Is there a message to your student body in the county?
From our side, just like I said yesterday, we're going to continue to improve our systems and processes. We're going to make sure that we are visible and accessible with our adults and the presence of a continued law enforcement within our schools. And that, like Sheriff Daniels says, it's time to open back up on Monday and to fill this house, to fill every seat so we can get back to teaching and learning.
What are the numbers that you all have seen in the recent changes in attendance?
From Oakley's side, yesterday was around 60%, but we did see an increase today. So today's actions through the Sheriff's Office gives us a sense of hope. This community is banding back together. They are really excited about the immediate response from the Sheriff's Office and from us being out front alongside as a partnership in order to create a safe environment and get ready for us to get back to work.
What kind of challenges does that create when students are out?
Yeah, it's a definite challenge. I mean, if students aren't here, we can't activate knowledge, and we can't move the needle in reference to improving students from an emotional, social, and intellectual standpoint. So we are, we may have lost 2 days of instruction for kids who didn't attend, but we will work side by side our students and our parents in order to give them their assignments they missed, so that we can continue the momentum.
I like it. Thank y'all.
Thank you
so much.
Y'all have a good night.
You too. Okay.